Okay, so I asked this question online to Facebook friends of mine who've been going through infertility, and the question was, um, do any of you journal? I'm thinking of doing a blog post on our adoption blog for National Infertility Awareness Week. The question would be, what would you tell yourself before you were diagnosed with infertility, and what would you tell yourself now? I am curious to hear what you all think. So, um, what I said was, in a nutshell, mine would be, let me move this up so I can read it a little bit better. Sorry, I'm still getting used to this. In a nutshell, mine would be, hang on, it's going to get better before it, ugh, no, hang on, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Find support wherever you can. It will save you. Tell your story. Ignore the haters. It's a big one. Be open to professional help. It will help you immensely if that's what you need. Don't forget your husband or significant other in the process. He is suffering too, probably just in a different way than you are. You are not alone in this. You won't be the same person after this journey, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. So that was my answer. I'm going to read just a few of the other ones that I got anonymously here. Someone said, I'd like to tell myself to get as healthy as you can before you start trying. I really think that my health and weight is playing a factor in my infertility. Let's see. Someone else said, I would tell myself to not put my life on hold for trying to have a baby. I agree with that one. I think it's really hard to do, especially if you're in treatments or you're going through the process of adopting. It's really, really hard to not like have that tunnel vision of, you know, this is what I want, and I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, and 4 to get there. Because I think that's a lot of that's a lot of women are like that, and it also gives us that feeling of like, oh, we're in control, you know, we have this and everything, when really not in control. So that's a good one. You know, I would say still make time like for your relationship for sure, for your friends, even though friendships might be different because you're going through a lot of things, but still continuing to do activities that you like to do. And one I would add to is that a friend told me was give yourself time limits to talk about infertility and your plans with your significant other, because otherwise it can really like take over your whole life, and every dinner or every meal that you eat together turns into this long conversation, and there's so many emotions behind it that it can kind of just be overwhelming. So for me and my husband, we've kind of tried to do that and limit it to like a half hour at a time, or break it up into small pieces throughout the day, because I found that if I didn't do that, or if I held it all in for like all week, let's say, I would have a day where I would just kind of like lose it and just let it all out. And then he would say like, why didn't you tell me this earlier in the week? And so we've really gotten better at communicating for sure. I kind of learned that one the hard way. Let's see what else. Here's a few different ones here I'm going to read. This is all going to take a lot longer than you think. Resolving infertility can be a long process. It's most likely going to take some time to move through the testing, treatment, and finally reach resolution, whether through treatment, adoption, or ultimately choosing to live child-free. It would be great to experience success on the first try, not to need to take any breaks along the way. However, breaks are often necessary for either financial or emotional reasons and can extend the amount of time it takes to get through this. Yes. Just remember, you will get through this, even if it's not happening as quickly as you would like to. That's a really good one. Don't put time limits on things. I think last year when I turned 30, I had this idea in my head of my life goals that by the time I was 30, I was going to be a mom. And I just always thought that in my head. And me and my husband got married when I was 25, so that was I thought a realistic goal. But sometimes those things can come around and bite you in the butt, because then my 30th birthday came and we hadn't even signed on yet for our adoption agency, and it just kind of felt like a failure kind of. So I think not saying, okay, we're gonna in a year or two from now, that's what it's gonna be, because realistically you just don't know. Someone also told me, they said it's a marathon, and fertility is a marathon, not a sprint, and that's totally true. And you learn things along the way, about yourself, about your relationship, friends, family, everything, because it's something that we don't expect to have to go through. You do not expect to not be able to have a family like a lot of people can. What comes easily or without a lot of work or planning for some people is not that way for us, and that can be really, really hard to stomach, especially as time passes. Now, my 31st birthday, that being said, my 31st birthday is next month. Now, I'm looking at it differently now, than I was obviously last year, and I'm at a different place in the process now, and I just have realized that, honestly, you can plan all you want, but there are no guarantees, and your plan is probably going to just be thrown out the window. So you just do the best you can where you are with what you have, and expect the unexpected, no pun intended, but none of it has been how I thought it would be. So, but that's just my my thing. Oh, and I want to say a shout out to Alicia. Love you. Thinking about you. Be strong. Let's see what else. Oh, this is a good one. Make friends with others experiencing infertility. Yes. No one else is going to understand the mix of joy, agony, and guilt you feel when a family member or friend announces a pregnancy like they are. No one else can lend you some Lupron when your doctor's office doesn't have any on hand and your order from the pharmacy is delayed by a snowstorm. Also, you all pretty much speak the same language. I remember when I first started going to my infertility support group, which, by the way, shout out to all of you guys. You're awesome. I love you. I had to learn a lot of terms TTC, trying to conceive, just a lot of stuff. I didn't do IVF or IUI, so it was a little different for me, but what was it? I would say these things, you know, sometimes like with my husband, I would say the abbreviations for things that we would use, and he'd be like, "What are you talking about?" And then I'd have to explain. He'd be like, "Do you actually talk like that, like in your group?" And I'm like, "I mean, in person we kind of do." I'm like, "Online we totally do." So it's awesome to have people who get you and people who are also going through the same similar emotion. Um, because that was one of the hardest things I still find to this day is not feeling alone, and not feeling like anyone really understood how I was feeling, just like the mix of emotions I was feeling, and how much it shook me to like the core of my soul, honestly. Like one of the hardest things for me, I um, I told my husband one time, I said, I honestly would prefer physical pain to this. And he was like, "What do you mean by that? Like physical pain?" I said, "I have had extremely painful surgeries before, and none of them even come close to the pain, like the emotional pain of the infertility." So, and I don't think that's something that's conveyed well at all in the media, and just it's just a lot. It's a silent struggle for a lot of people too. You know, since I've been sharing my story, I have like been blown away by how many people came forward or said, you know, my sister had infertility, or you know, I had infertility and I never told anybody this. And um, just like the stories that I've heard are just like unreal. And it makes me glad that I did like seek out help, and I went to a support group and I talked it out, and I was honest with myself about needing more support while I was going through it. So that's for sure true. Let's see. Be kind to yourself. Treat yourself to little things that make you happy. It's very important to set boundaries for self care, saying no to baby showers, leaving a Christmas party before Santa shows up to pass out gifts to the kids, or visit friends after their toddlers are in bed for the night. Above all, always have an escape route and reward yourself for doing things that are hard. I think that's really true. I think for me, like over the last 2 years, it's been a lot easier. It's easier for me now to be around like pregnant women and children, babies, but that was not the case at all for me for probably like a good year and a half. And there were things that I had to say no to that like broke my heart, honestly, that I just felt horrible about not doing. But I just knew that the place I was in, like where my heart was, um, I was in no place to, you know, be going to like a shower or a kid's birthday party or something I knew was going to be like a huge emotional trigger for me. So, as hard as it is to set limits and say no to things, you do have to really think about like what is best for you, because you're going through something big here. Um, this one I also agree with very, very much. Share your story. That was part of mine. That was one of mine too. Whether it's with a family member you can trust, group of others struggling with infertility, an online support group, or publicly through social media. Infertility can be very isolating. Sharing your story will benefit you and others by creating a community of support and awareness and reminding you that you are not alone in the struggle. That's why I am sharing this with you now. It's like really hard for me to do, honestly. But if I had someone like me do this like 2 years ago, it would have been mind blowing for me. So, I'm like, put on my lucky necklace, which has, I don't know if you can see, has a camera thing on it because I love photography. And then it has 2 little hearts on it from Tiffany. This one says, I love you, I love you, love you. And this one is a heart. And both of those were gifts from my husband. And I wear this necklace to, like, I wore it to all my appointments. I wore it to every time I would go to an interview at the agency, and I'm sure I'll wear it when we're matched. So it's kind of like my lucky necklace and my strong necklace. So let's see. I think that's it for that. I would say the support is like huge, huge, huge. Asking for help, knowing that like it's not you don't have to do it by yourself. There are ways you can talk things out, get your story out there. That helped me so much. That things, relationships in your life might change, friendships in your life might change. That's been really hard for me. Really hard for me. You know, people, I thought, you know, when we started sharing our, I started like the adoption blog and Facebook page, I knew like I was opening myself up to criticism because, you know, I mean, if you put yourself out there, there's always going to be people who have something negative to say about it. So I knew that going in. I wasn't expecting everybody to to be cheerleaders for us. And overwhelmingly, the negative has been far outweighed by positive things. So that's like awesome. I focus on that. I have been, I've had some negative things said about being honest and open about my story. You know, why would you do that? Why would you want everyone to know all this stuff about you and your infertility? To those people, I would just like to say that shame and guilt are huge, huge things in infertility. And the way I look at it is it's no one's fault, but me sharing my story out there and putting it out there, that is removing guilt for me. That is removing the shame for me. That gives me strength. That gives others strength. It's not something that someone should feel that they have to hide or be ashamed of, because that does not help you one freaking bit to deal with infertility. It doesn't. Pushing it down and saying, you know, oh, everything's fine, I'm fine, when people are asking you, you know, and saying, you know, Sarah, you know, you just don't seem like yourself, like what's going on? People know something's not right when you're going through that. And I just got to a point where I was like, you know, I can't keep this facade going. I can't act like everything's perfect and everything's fine, because it's not fine. You know, I was going through some real heavy stuff, and I dealt with depression, you know, and I hit like a lot of lows in this process. It like, it really shakes your self-esteem because, you know, your body isn't doing what you think it should do, or what a lot of most people's bodies can do. It broke my heart that I could not give my husband a biological child. And he, God bless him, see, I'm going to cry. I was going to say, I know, I'm not going to cry this time on the video. But from the very beginning, he never cared about that. He was supportive 100% with adoption. either way, and that was like a lifesaver for me. So thank you, babe. I love you, and thank you for supporting me and letting me share our story, because I know like you're not as out there with it as I am, but I love you. Where was it going with this? So yeah, so that's why I chose to share the story. I have lost I'll say it, I have lost friends, or friendships have changed, family dynamics have changed, when I told them we were adopting, or through like the steps of the process of that we've gone through. And unfortunately, you do really find out like who your true friends are and who's there for you. And that's been really difficult, but because I surrounded myself with my support group, that's been a saving grace for me. I think if I didn't do that and I was just relying on everyone that was already in my life, would have been like a disaster. Honestly, emotionally disaster. So, let's see. So, yeah, you are not alone. Share your story. It's a process. Get help. Ask for help. Know that you can't do everything by yourself and you shouldn't have to. Don't be ashamed to tell your story. If someone is making you feel shameful or crappy for being honest, being real, and putting your story out there about how you feel, that says more about them than it does you. It has nothing to do with you. It makes them uncomfortable. That's not my problem. I'm sorry. That's not my problem. It's my life. When I do and am lucky enough to adopt a child, I will teach them that honesty and being open and sharing your story to help others is the most important thing. And life is not perfect. Adoption is not perfect. Fertility is not perfect. IVF is not perfect. None of this stuff is easy stuff. It's not. It's hard. And that's why we need to talk about it. We need to spread awareness, because so many people are struggling with this alone. And it doesn't have to be that way. And I just want you to know that. Just that you're not alone. And people who really want to be there for you will be there for you. And they should be. You tell them what you need. That's what I found. Sometimes people want to be there for you, but they're not sure how. Tell them what you need. And that can be really hard to do, but that's what I did. And if they can't do that and they have to take a step back from your life, that's really hard and it sucks. But at least they know you're being honest. You've given them that opportunity to help. And that's all you can do, unfortunately. Just surround yourself with people who are positive, who support your honesty and your vulnerability, and that it doesn't freak them out. Don't let them silence you sharing your story. What else? Look here. So, and I didn't really tell my story in the video, but on the blog, I'm gonna include a written blog post I did earlier on in my journey that explains our infertility journey. So you can read that because this is going on 25 minutes here. So I just wanted to end this with a few quotes because I'm a quote lover. I think my sister said once that I was the quote whore. That's horrible, but love you, Abby. I'm not ashamed. Okay. Now where'd it go? I have to find it now. Oh, Lord have mercy. It doesn't matter how this looks to other people. If this is something you've got to do, then you got to do it. Fighters fight. Rocky Balboa. And I really like this one too. Courage is looking fear right in the eye and saying, get the hell out of my way. I've got things to do. So until next time, I feel like this is a talk show, but until next time, stay courageous, keep sharing your story, and being open and honest and vulnerable, even when it scares you to death. Because you are not only helping yourself, you're helping somebody else. And happy National Infertility Awareness Week 2014. And I hope that this was helpful for you. And I will talk to you soon. Love you all. Bye.